My name is Alex, or at least that's what I go by now. The truth is, I've spent the last 6 months looking over my shoulder, deleting my digital footprint, trying to become a ghost. But some ghosts refuse to stay buried, and some truths, well, they demand to be heard, even if it costs you everything. I used to work for Aether Corp. Not its real name, of course, but it's close enough. Think big tech, Silicon Valley, the kind of place where innovation and secrecy are two sides of the same coin. My job? Data integrity, algorithm optimization. Basically, I made sure the internet worked the way they wanted it to work. Not exactly glamorous, but it paid well. The perks were incredible. A sleek office with panoramic views of the California hills, gourmet meals, all the VR gadgets you could dream of. But beneath the polished veneer, there was always this hum, this low-frequency thrum of something hidden. It started subtly, like all the most terrifying things do. A tiny anomaly, a flicker, a ghost in the machine. It was late, past midnight, just me and the automated cleaning drones humming through the empty hallways. I was running a routine diagnostic on our global content filtration algorithms. We're talking billions of data packets, social media feeds, news outlets, everything. My screen, usually a kaleidoscope of green and blue graphs, suddenly flashed red, an unprecedented spike. A single video uploaded simultaneously across multiple platforms, gaining traction at an exponential rate. It wasn't just popular, it was violently popular, breaking every metric we had. My first thought was, damn, someone's gone viral with a cat video on steroids. But then I saw the preview thumbnail. It was dark, grainy, shot vertically, clearly from a smartphone. It showed what looked like a desolate, dusty landscape, maybe somewhere in the American Southwest, under a moonless, star-filled sky. And in the center of the frame, there was something unmistakable. A pulsating, dark triangular craft silently hovering above a small, isolated farmhouse, and beneath it, a beam of pure white light. And in that beam, a figure, a human figure, slowly, horrifyingly being lifted upwards, screaming silently into the void. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a deepfake. The way the light interacted with the dust, the sheer terror emanating from the pixelated image, the impossible silence of the craft, it felt terrifyingly real. My fingers flew across the keyboard, trying to trace the origin, to see who uploaded it, where it came from. But even as I typed, the numbers on my screen were dropping. Not just the view count, but the existence of the video itself. It was being scrubbed, not by me, not by my team, but by something else. Something faster, more efficient, and infinitely more powerful. It was like watching a ghost disappear in real time. But I saw it. I saw them. And I knew, in that gut-wrenching moment, that my life would never be the same. That night, the sleek, sterile halls of Aether Corp felt less like a beacon of human ingenuity and more like a tomb. The air conditioning, usually a soothing white noise, now seemed to whisper warnings. Every shadow stretched, every distant hum echoed with a sinister resonance. The video, that fleeting, horrifying glimpse of impossible reality, had been seared into my mind. I tried to dismiss it, to rationalize it away as a masterfully crafted hoax, an elaborate viral marketing stunt gone wrong. But the sheer speed and efficiency of its disappearance argued against it. No independent actor, no matter how skilled, could have wiped a video from every major platform simultaneously, not without leaving a trace, not without triggering alarms. And yet the only alarm that had truly screamed was the one in my gut. I spent the next few hours in a frantic, almost obsessive hunt. My job was literally to find and analyze digital anomalies. If anyone could unearth the ghost of that video, it was me.
I dove into the deepest corners of Aether Corp's network logs, tracing IP addresses, cross-referencing timestamps, sifting through metadata that would make most people's eyes glaze over. I searched for hidden backups, cached versions, anything that might have lingered. It was like trying to catch smoke. Every trail I followed led to a dead end. Every log entry related to that specific content ID had been not just deleted, but sanitized. It wasn't just removed, it was as if it had never existed. This wasn't Aether Corp's standard content moderation. Our protocols were robust, but they were human. They left a paper trail, audit logs, oversight. This felt surgical, automated, pre-programmed, as if a parallel system operating entirely outside our known framework had been triggered. I found faint, almost imperceptible digital signatures, a pattern of data erasure that didn't match any known government agency or corporate entity. It was too clean, too precise. It was like trying to identify a killer based on a perfectly wiped crime scene. The more I failed, the more a chilling realization solidified in my mind. This wasn't about a glitch. This was about a system designed to protect a truth so profound, so disruptive, that its very existence had to be erased from collective consciousness. And it wasn't just deleting a video, it felt like it was deleting history, the memory of the event itself. And if it could do that to a video, what else could it do? Could it manipulate perception? Could it plant alternative narratives? The thought sent a shiver down my spine that had nothing to do with the cool office air. As dawn approached, painting the eastern sky in hues of orange and purple over the Silicon Valley landscape, I finally gave up my futile search. My eyes were burning, my head pounding, but my mind was clearer than it had ever been. I wasn't just a data analyst anymore. I was a witness. I had seen what they didn't want anyone to see. And a part of me, a small, terrified yet stubbornly curious part, knew I couldn't unsee it. I understood then that the hum I'd always felt at Aether Corp wasn't just the sound of servers. It was the sound of a secret being meticulously kept, and I had just accidentally stumbled upon the source of its terrifying resonance. What if this wasn't an isolated incident? What if this system of erasure was constantly at work, a digital sentinel guarding humanity from a truth too monumental to comprehend?
The next few days at Aether Corp were a blur of forced normalcy. I moved through the gleaming hallways, nodded at colleagues, participated in meetings about synergy and disruptive innovation, all while a chilling undercurrent vibrated beneath my skin. The world around me seemed utterly oblivious. No news reports, no social media chatter, not even a whisper on the darkest corners of the internet about the video. It was as if that terrifying footage, that undeniable proof of something beyond our comprehension, had been swallowed whole, leaving no ripple behind. But for me, the ripples were a tsunami. Every time my phone buzzed, I flinched. Every anonymous email felt like a threat. I started noticing things, small, innocuous details that through the lens of my newfound paranoia became sinister. The security cameras in the office, which I'd always ignored, now seemed to swivel with an unnatural precision, their red eyes following my movements. Colleagues I barely knew would linger a little too long by my desk, their conversations abruptly ceasing when I approached. Was it just my imagination, or were they watching me? Had Aether Corp, or whatever entity had executed the digital purge, already identified me as a loose end? I tried to talk about it, cautiously at first. I'd bring up hypothetical scenarios with trusted friends in the industry, casual mentions of, what if a truly undeniable piece of evidence of something huge went viral and then just vanished? Their reactions were varied. Laughter, dismissal,
theories about sophisticated hoaxes. No one took it seriously. No one saw the fear in my eyes. It only reinforced my isolation. How could I explain something I barely understood myself, something that contradicted everything they believed about reality? My sleep became fractured. The image of that triangular craft, the beam of light, the silent scream of the abducted figure, it played on an endless loop behind my eyelids. I'd wake in a cold sweat, convinced I heard the faint hum of machinery outside my window or saw shadows moving in the periphery of my vision. I started sketching the craft compulsively on notepads during meetings, then quickly tearing the pages out. The details were burned into my memory. The matte black surface, the strange, almost organic curves, the total absence of sound save for that impossible beam of light. One afternoon, I was in the employee cafeteria, trying to pretend to enjoy the organic kale salad, when I overheard a fragment of conversation from a group of senior developers. They were discussing a priority project, something about accelerated data remediation protocols and containment algorithms. My blood ran cold again. Type 7 existential threats? Was that how they classify something like an alien abduction? Something so fundamentally disruptive to our understanding of the universe that it had to be completely erased? I discreetly pulled out my phone, pretending to check emails, and subtly recorded the tail end of their conversation. It was mostly technical jargon, but the tone, the hushed intensity, the veiled references, it was enough to confirm my worst fears. I wasn't imagining things. There was indeed an unseen hand, a shadowy organization operating within AetherCorp, perhaps even using AetherCorp's vast resources to control the narrative, to protect us from a truth they deemed too dangerous. And now I was an unforeseen variable in their carefully constructed reality.
The recording I'd managed to snatch in the cafeteria was a cryptic puzzle, but it was something. It was solid proof that my paranoia wasn't just a figment of my sleep-deprived imagination. Type 7 existential threats. The phrase echoed in my mind, a chilling whisper in the sterile quiet of my apartment. I spent hours dissecting the audio, running it through various filters, trying to tease out hidden meanings. It was mostly corporate speak, designed to obfuscate, but the underlying tension in their voices was palpable. They were talking about containment. I knew I couldn't just walk into the FBI with this. AetherCorp's reach was immense, their legal teams legendary. I'd be laughed out of the building, branded a disgruntled employee, or worse, have my life systematically dismantled. I needed an ally. Someone outside the corporate government loop. Someone who understood the shadowy underbelly of digital information. My mind went to an old contact, a cybersecurity journalist named Maya Vance. She ran an independent blog, The Digital Veil, known for exposing corporate espionage and government overreach. She was fearless, sharp, and had a reputation for getting to the truth no matter how uncomfortable. The problem was, contacting her directly from my AetherCorp-monitored devices was suicide. Every email, every text, every call would be logged, flagged, analyzed. I devised a plan. Rudimentary, but I hoped effective. A dead drop. I used an old, untraceable burner phone I'd kept since my college hacking days, a relic from a past life, ironically now my only hope. I composed a short, anonymous message, encrypted it multiple times over, and attached the cafeteria audio file. The message was simple. Viral abduction video. Vanished. AetherCorp. Type 7. Meet me at the old observatory at Griffith Park, midnight, 3 nights from now. Come alone, don't tell anyone. The coordinates were vague enough to offer plausible deniability, iconic enough for a memorable meeting place. Griffith Park in Los Angeles, far from Silicon Valley. A public place, but with enough shadows to provide a sense of clandestine intrigue. I sent the message through a series of anonymous proxies, bouncing it across the globe, hoping it would make it to her without a trace. It felt like I was launching a message in a bottle into a digital ocean, praying it would reach the right shore. The wait was agonizing. Each day at work was a performance. I smiled, I contributed, I pretended to be the same Alex everyone knew. But inside, I was a coiled spring, hyper-aware of every glance, every conversation. I started taking different routes home, checking my rearview mirror compulsively. My apartment felt less like a sanctuary and more like a cage. I even unplugged my smart devices, suddenly terrified that my own toaster could be reporting my activities. The paranoia was no longer just in my head, it was a living, breathing entity, constantly at my back. The night of the meet, a thick coastal fog rolled into Los Angeles, shrouding the city in a ghostly embrace, perfect for a clandestine meeting. My heart hammered against my ribs as I drove up the winding roads to Griffith Park. The observatory gleamed faintly through the mist, a majestic, silent sentinel over the sprawling metropolis. I parked my car in a secluded lot, walked to a prearranged spot, and waited. Every rustle of leaves, every distant siren sent jolts of adrenaline through me. Then a shadow detached itself from the fog. It was Maya. Her face was wary, her eyes sharp, reflecting the minimal light. She carried a small backpack. She didn't speak, just nodded curtly. I handed her the burner phone. She gave me a quick, assessing look, a flicker of understanding in her gaze. "They're watching," I whispered, my voice hoarse. "They know something." She just nodded again, a grin set to her jaw. "Let's hope this is worth the risk, Alex." Her words were barely audible over the rising wind, but their weight was immense. The burden of my secret finally shared felt both lighter and infinitely heavier. The clock was ticking. The game was truly on.
After the clandestine exchange at Griffith Park, a new kind of silence descended. It wasn't the suffocating silence of a secret kept alone, but the tense quiet of a countdown. Maya had the data. Now it was up to her. I returned to my apartment, the burner phone I'd given her feeling like a phantom limb, the absence of its weight a constant reminder of the precariousness of my situation. I spent the next few days in a state of heightened alert, a nervous energy buzzing beneath my skin. Work at Aether Corp felt surreal. Every line of code I wrote, every algorithm I tweaked, felt tainted by the knowledge of what the company truly enabled. I observed Dr. Chan and her cohort from a distance, trying to gauge their mood, searching for any sign that my dead drop had been discovered. They seemed unchanged, which paradoxically made me even uneasier. Did they not know, or were they just that good at maintaining the facade? Then, 3 days after our meeting, I received an anonymous, encrypted message on an old secure messaging app I'd only ever used with Maya. It was from her. The message was terse. Cafeteria audio, interesting. Found something else. Meet same place, tomorrow night. Bring anything else you have. A wave of both relief and dread washed over me. Relief because she was on the trail. Dread because something else implied deeper trouble. This wasn't just about a vanished video anymore. This was a widening crack in the carefully constructed reality. The next night, the fog had lifted, revealing a clear, star-studded Los Angeles sky. The city lights below twinkled like scattered diamonds. Maya was already there, leaning against the stone railing of the observatory, her face illuminated by the distant glow of the metropolis. She looked more serious than before, a determined glint in her eyes. "You were right, Alex," she said, her voice low and urgent. "That audio? It's been scrubbed from every Aether Corp server, every backup. But I found traces, fragmented packets of data that point to a classified network buried deep within their infrastructure. A network that shouldn't exist for a public corporation." She then pulled out a secure tablet, its screen displaying a complex web of interconnected nodes and data streams. "This is what I found. While tracing the digital signatures of the video's erasure, I stumbled upon an anomaly, a recurring data pattern, almost like a signature, that's not associated with any known Aether Corp project or government agency. It's too sophisticated, too alien." "Alien?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. "Exactly," she affirmed, her eyes meeting mine. "It's a specific type of encryption, a kind of
data compression that defies conventional computing. I've only seen theoretical papers on something similar, developed by, well, let's just say, very unconventional sources. It appears this method was used to not only delete the video, but also to insert a kind of counter-narrative into the digital ether. Small, almost invisible data packets designed to subtly discredit anyone who might speak about it, to make them seem unstable. She paused, her gaze intense. But that's not the worst of it. While digging, I found another anomaly, a glitch in Aether Corp's secure messaging system, specifically within Dr. Chen's communications. It was a partial decryption, a fragment of a conversation she had with an unknown party a few weeks before the viral video incident. It read, "The retrieval was successful. Specimen secured at Site Lambda 7. Prepare for Phase 2. Integration Protocol. The incident was contained, but the human element remains unpredictable. Proceed with full-spectrum monitoring of all affected populations, especially the observational anomaly in the Pacific Northwest." My breath hitched. Retrieval? Specimen? Integration protocol? The words hung in the cool night air, heavy with terrifying implications, and observational anomaly in the Pacific Northwest? Could that be related to the source of the viral video, or something even larger? Maya nodded grimly. This isn't just about a cover-up, Alex. This is about an active, ongoing operation, and it sounds like Aether Corp is not just facilitating the cover-up, they're deeply involved in something far more profound and sinister, something that involves specimens, the human element, and monitoring populations. We've just scratched the surface, and what we've found is far darker than a simple viral video gone missing. The stars above, once a source of wonder, now seem to wink with malevolent indifference, guardians of secrets far grander and more terrifying than I could have ever imagined.
The phrase Site Lambda 7 gnawed at me. It wasn't a location I recognized from any public or even semi-private Aether Corp documentation. The name itself felt cold, clinical, designed to obscure its true purpose. Maya and I met again, this time at a discreet, almost forgotten diner in a grungier part of East LA. The clatter of dishes and the smell of stale coffee offered a strange comfort, a fleeting illusion of normalcy. Site Lambda 7 isn't on any map, Maya stated, her voice quiet but firm as she pored over a secure satellite image on her tablet. But the encrypted message from Chen referenced geographical coordinates disguised as a software patch identifier. It points to a remote, desolate area in the high desert of Nevada, not far from the Tonopah test range, and by proxy, not far from where the legendary Area 51 is rumored to be. My stomach clenched. Nevada. The perfect place for things to disappear. The perfect place for secrets to fester beneath the unforgiving sun. "We need to get closer, Alex," Maya continued, her eyes fixed on the map. "I can try to hack into the local infrastructure, but getting a physical presence, someone who can observe, who can look for irregularities, that's where you come in. You know their systems, their methodologies. You're a ghost in their machine." The idea was insane. Infiltrate a potential black site connected to an alien cover-up? It was a fast track to disappearing myself. But the thought of letting this go, of letting them continue their operations unchecked, was unbearable. The image of the abducted figure, still fresh in my memory, spurred me on. Someone had to bear witness. "How?" I finally asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Aether Corp security is tighter than Fort Knox. A black site, it would be impenetrable." Maya's lips curled into a faint, knowing smile. Aether Corp runs thousands of smaller subsidiary operations. Think server farms, data relay stations, even remote weather monitoring outposts. Some are in desolate locations for security or environmental research. If we can find one near Lambda 7, one that you could conceivably be assigned to, even temporarily, the plan began to form, audacious and terrifying.
I would leverage my position, my clearances. It would mean manipulating the internal assignment system, forging paperwork, navigating a labyrinth of digital bureaucracy, all while under the constant, silent gaze of Aether Corp's overarching surveillance. It was a high-stakes gamble, playing their own game against them. Weeks crawled by. Every moment at work was a tightrope walk. I carefully, meticulously crafted a legitimate-looking request to be temporarily reassigned to a remote server optimization project in a desolate region of Nevada. It took every ounce of my technical skill, every trick I knew to circumvent internal flags and approvals. I created an elaborate digital paper trail that made it seem like a logical, low-priority assignment. I felt like I was defusing a bomb, each keystroke a potential trigger. Finally, the approval came through. My heart leapt into my throat. I was in. My cover was a routine systems upgrade at a small, heavily secured Aether Corp satellite data relay station, essentially a glorified server farm, located 50 miles from the coordinates of Site Lambda 7. The facility itself was innocuous, hidden within a small, fenced-off compound in the middle of nowhere. No one would question a senior data integrity specialist being dispatched there. The drive across the vast, empty Nevada desert was eerie. The landscape was breathtakingly beautiful in its harshness, but it felt unwelcoming, secretive. The sky stretched endlessly, and the silence was profound, broken only by the whine of my tires on the asphalt. When I finally arrived at the relay station, it was exactly as described. A utilitarian building humming with the familiar thrum of servers, guarded by a few bored-looking, heavily armed security personnel. Inside it was cold, sterile, and isolated. But as I settled into my temporary workstation, something else began to seep into the silence. A faint, almost subliminal sound. Not the servers, something deeper. A high-frequency whine that seemed to emanate from beneath the desert floor. It was like a living pulse, a constant, low-level vibration that permeated everything. And with it came whispers. Not actual voices, but a feeling, a profound sense of presence. I realized with a chilling certainty that I wasn't just near Site Lambda 7. I was standing on the periphery of something ancient, something immense, something that hummed with a power both terrifying and utterly alien.
The satellite data relay station was a meticulously maintained deception. On the surface, it was a legitimate Aether Corp outpost, handling routine data traffic. But the deeper I delved into its internal network, bypassing layers of firewalls and proxies that would impress even the most seasoned hacker, the clearer it became that this facility had a dual purpose. It wasn't just sending and receiving data, it was filtering it. It was a digital sieve, specifically designed to capture, analyze, and then nullify any anomalous signals or unauthorized transmissions within a vast radius. A digital net cast wide over the desolate expanse of the Nevada desert. And the hum, that persistent, low-frequency hum, it was omnipresent. It wasn't electrical, not entirely. It felt organic, yet artificial. It pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to subtly influence my own heart rate, an almost hypnotic vibration that made it hard to focus, yet impossible to ignore. I started to suspect it wasn't just a byproduct of machinery. It was a deliberate frequency, perhaps even a form of low-level sensory manipulation. Was it designed to mask other sounds, or to simply disorient anyone who spent too much time here? I set up a hidden workstation within my temporary office, a small, insulated corner where I could run my own unauthorized diagnostics, attempting to penetrate the shielded network that Maya had identified. It was a painstaking process, requiring a level of digital stealth that pushed my skills to their absolute limit. I felt like a deep-sea diver, inching through treacherous currents, knowing that one wrong move could trigger an alarm that would swallow me whole. My target was Site Lambda 7, Its supposed coordinates were just a digital approximation. My goal was to pinpoint its exact location, and more importantly, to listen, to find out what signals, what communications, what secrets it was guarding. Days bled into nights, fueled by stale coffee and a growing sense of urgency. The security guards, initially just bored, began to cast sharper glances my way. My routine systems upgrade was taking far too long for a simple relay station. I had to maintain the charade, feeding AetherCorp's central network convincing reports of progress, while my true work went undetected. Then I found it. A faint, almost imperceptible fluctuation in the local electromagnetic field. It wasn't a data packet, not an encrypted message. It was a signature, a resonant frequency, a pattern of energy that seemed to emanate from a specific point beneath the Earth, about 40 miles due east of my location. It was the hum, amplified, focused, the epicenter of that strange organic vibration. Site Lambda 7. But what truly chilled me was what I discovered next. This subterranean source wasn't just humming, it was broadcasting. Not in any human language, not in any recognizable code. It was a complex array of wave patterns, a symphony of frequencies that seemed to pulse and shift with an intelligent, almost conscious rhythm. It was a vast, intricate communication, but to whom and about what? As I managed to partially decode some of the simpler patterns, I realized something terrifying. The signals weren't just being broadcast, they were being manipulated. As they reached the surface, they were being actively scrambled, blurred, and then rerouted through the AetherCorp relay station's filtering algorithms. It was a sophisticated, multi-layered deception. The station wasn't just scrubbing digital evidence, it was actively distorting alien communication, feeding a cleaned, sanitized version of it into somewhere, or perhaps preventing the full scope of it from ever reaching human ears. My screen filled with jagged, fragmented waveforms, the raw, unfiltered alien communication battling against the powerful AetherCorp suppression. I could see glimpses of geometric patterns, mathematical sequences, and then, most chillingly, faint, recurring images, not clear pictures, but abstract, almost holographic projections. They flickered, tantalizingly out of reach, but one pattern recurred, persistent and horrifying. A dark, triangular shape. The same shape from the viral video. And then, a new one. A complex, sprawling underground facility, vast and geometric, pulsating with an internal light. Site Lambda 7. Wasn't just a facility, it was a connection point. A two-way street. And AetherCorp was the gatekeeper, deciding what went out and what came in. The specimen and integration protocol Maya had found in Dr. Chen's message suddenly took on a far more ominous meaning. We weren't just being monitored, we were being managed. And whatever was beneath the desert floor, it wasn't just communicating with them, it was directing them. The true masters of the narrative weren't human at all.
The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. AetherCorp wasn't just managing the cover-up, they were collaborators, or worse, puppets. Whatever was beneath the desert wasn't just communicating, it was commanding. And I, Alex, the data integrity specialist, was sitting right in the middle of their digital command center. The raw, unfiltered signals from Site Lambda 7 were a symphony of secrets, and I was finally beginning to understand its terrifying melody. I had to get closer. Not physically, that was a suicide mission, but digitally. I needed to breach their internal network, the one Dr. Chen had referenced, the one that held the true operational data for Site Lambda 7. It was a network designed to be impenetrable, isolated from the public internet, secured by layers of alien-derived encryption that Maya had only begun to scratch the surface of. But I had a unique advantage. I was inside a connected AetherCorp facility with high-level access to their standard corporate network. It was a back door, albeit a heavily guarded one. Working under the constant threat of discovery, I spent another agonizing night bypassing firewalls, exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities I'd discovered years ago but never dared to use. The hum from beneath the desert intensified, becoming a throbbing presence, a constant pressure behind my eyes. It felt like the facility itself was actively resisting my intrusion, like a living entity trying to shake off an infection. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I breached it. A new network entirely separate from Aether Corp's public-facing operations. It was a stark, brutalist interface devoid of any corporate branding, filled with highly classified files, and there, staring back at me, were the words Project Kronos, Lambda 7 Operational Logs. My fingers trembled as I navigated through the directories, files labeled Specimen Status Reports, Integration Protocol Phases, Human Element Assessment, and most chillingly, Extraterrestrial Contact and Directive Archive. Each click sent a jolt of ice through my veins. These specimen status reports detailed biological samples, genetic sequencing data, and growth patterns that defied terrestrial biology. They described entities that were non-carbon-based, multispectral, and possessed of advanced psionic capabilities. They weren't just visitors, they were residents, living, breathing beings being studied, harvested, or perhaps even grown within Site Lambda 7. The integration protocol phases laid out a step-by-step plan for the gradual introduction of alien technology and concepts into human society. It wasn't about invasion, it was about assimilation. It spoke of cultural conditioning, technological dependency, and cognitive restructuring, subtle, insidious methods to prepare humanity for a new, predetermined future. The viral video I'd witnessed was listed as an unforeseen exposure event, a momentary glitch in their meticulously managed rollout. But the most terrifying revelation came from the Extraterrestrial Contact and Directive Archive. It wasn't just a record of communications, it was a chronicle of partnership, decades of collaboration between a shadowy human faction, clearly the upper echelons of Aether Corp and allied government entities, and the extraterrestrial entities residing at Lambda 7. The aliens weren't benevolent visitors or hostile invaders. They were partners, almost mentors, guiding humanity's technological and societal development, but with an ultimate agenda that remained chillingly vague. And then I saw it, a file labeled Project Nightingale, Subject 001, Abduction Log. I clicked, and my blood ran cold. The coordinates matched the location from the viral video, the date matched the timestamp, and the subject description, it matched the pixelated figure I'd seen being lifted into the triangular craft. They hadn't just abducted one person. This was a project, a systematic, ongoing process. The human element wasn't just a concept, it was a resource. A sudden sharp alarm blared through my headphones, cutting through the silence of the room, a digital intrusion alert. I had been detected. I had stayed too long, accessed too much. The hum from beneath the desert intensified, a deafening roar in my ears. Red warnings flashed across my screen. System breach detected. Trace initiated. Physical containment protocol activated. I scrambled to extract what I could, downloading critical logs and fragments of the Project Kronos files onto a heavily encrypted drive. I had minutes, maybe seconds. Footsteps pounded down the corridor outside my office. The door handle rattled. I was no longer an unseen observer. I was now the unforeseen variable, exposed, compromised, and facing the full, terrifying might of a conspiracy that stretched beyond Earth itself. They were coming for me, and I just glimpsed enough of their truth to know that they wouldn't just make me disappear, they would ensure my entire existence was erased.
The metallic clang of the door being forced open shattered the sterile quiet of the relay station. My heart leaped into my throat, a frantic drum against my ribs. System breach detected. Physical containment protocol activated. The words echoed in my mind, a death knell. I didn't wait. The encrypted drive, A small, unassuming USB stick was already warm in my hand. It held everything. Fragments of Project Kronos, the Lambda 7 logs, the terrifying truth of Project Nightingale. It was my only weapon, my only proof. As the heavy security door burst open, revealing two hulking figures in tactical gear, their faces obscured by dark visors, I didn't hesitate. Adrenaline surged through me, lending me a desperate, animalistic speed. I'd anticipated this. While my digital work was complex, my escape plan was brutally simple: survival. I burst out of the office, not towards the main exit, but towards a rarely used service tunnel I'd spotted during my initial reconnaissance, a maintenance access leading to the exterior cooling vents. The guards, momentarily surprised by my sudden appearance, hesitated for a crucial second. That was all I needed. I sprinted down the narrow, dimly lit corridor, the blaring alarm deafening. Footsteps thundered behind me, shouts of "Stop, do not proceed" echoing off the concrete walls. I could hear their comms crackling, their voices distorted and urgent. They were communicating with the unseen network, receiving directives, just like puppets. The service tunnel was tight, smelling of dust and stale air. I scrambled through it, scraping my elbows and knees, the sound of the guards closing in behind me. I pushed open the heavy grate at the end, emerging into the biting cold of the desert night. The vast, star-peppered sky stretched above me, indifferent to my plight. The low, guttural hum from beneath the earth seemed to vibrate through my very bones, a constant reminder of the alien presence I had just exposed. My car, a nondescript rental, was parked 100 yards away, hidden amongst some sparse desert scrub. I fumbled for the keys, my hands shaking violently, the sound of the guards already emerging from the service tunnel. Their flashlights cut through the darkness, sweeping across the barren landscape. "He's heading for the vehicle!" one of them barked. I dove into the driver's seat, jamming the key into the ignition. The engine roared to life, a blessed sound. I slammed the car into reverse, tires spitting gravel, and then peeled out onto the dirt track, heading away from the facility, away from the hum, away from the immediate threat. But the desert was not empty. Headlights flared in my rearview mirror. Another vehicle, a black, unmarked SUV, was already pursuing me, moving with an unnatural speed across the rough terrain. They had backup. They had planned for this. The chase was a blur of dust, darkness, and terror. My rental car, not built for off-road pursuit, bounced violently over the uneven ground. The SUV behind me was closing the distance, its powerful engine a relentless growl. I gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white, forcing myself to focus. I knew this area of the desert was riddled with old, disused roads, dry riverbeds, and treacherous gullies. My only hope was to lose them, to use the unforgiving landscape against them. Suddenly, a blinding spotlight snapped on from the pursuing SUV, momentarily disorienting me. Then, a sharp crack. A bullet slammed into my rear windshield, showering me with safety glass. They weren't just pursuing, they were actively trying to disable my vehicle. Or worse. Panic surged, cold and sharp. I swerved hard, sending the car careening down a steep embankment, narrowly avoiding a cluster of rocks. The SUV, caught off guard, slowed slightly, giving me a precious few seconds. I floored the accelerator, sending the rental car hurtling into the deeper darkness of the desert, away from any semblance of a road. The hum from Site Lambda 7 seemed to recede slightly as I put more distance between us, replaced by the wind screaming past my open windows and the frantic thumping of my heart. But I knew this wasn't over. I had exposed a truth they had spent decades, perhaps centuries, protecting. They wouldn't stop, not until the drive was recovered. Not until I, Alex, became another, unforeseen variable that vanished without a trace, just like the viral video. My fight for survival, for the truth, had just begun.
The desert night was a blur of adrenaline and fear. I drove for what felt like hours, abandoning the rental car in a remote, forgotten canyon after it finally gave out, its engine seizing. I continued on foot, using the last vestiges of my energy, guided only by the distant glow of a highway and the desperate hope of reaching civilization. The black SUV eventually lost my trail, probably assuming I was either dead, stranded, or would eventually succumb to the elements. But I was alive, and I still had the drive. Days later,
Battered, bruised, and with a story that sounded utterly insane, I finally made contact with Maya again. It took every ounce of caution I possessed to reach out without being detected. We met in a secure, undisclosed location, far from the desert, far from AetherCorp. I handed her the encrypted drive, its small weight feeling like the entire world rested upon it. "It's all there, Maya," I rasped, my voice raw from dehydration and exhaustion. Project Kronos, Lambda 7, Project Nightingale. They're not just covering up alien abductions, they're facilitating them, collaborating. The viral video was just a tiny momentary peek behind the curtain. These entities, they're manipulating our technology, our society, guiding us towards an integration protocol that we don't understand. And AetherCorp is their primary human interface. Maya listened in stunned silence, her usual sharp skepticism replaced by a grim acceptance. She spent the next weeks hidden away, meticulously analyzing the data, cross-referencing my findings with her own independent research. What she found corroborated every horrifying detail. The depth of the conspiracy, the sheer audacity of the alien-human collaboration was staggering. It wasn't just a government secret, it was a fundamental redefinition of our place in the cosmos. We understood then that releasing this data conventionally, through established media channels, was impossible. They controlled the narrative too completely. Any leak would be instantly debunked, branded as fake news, and those responsible would be systematically discredited, silenced, or worse. The containment algorithms I'd once helped optimize would ensure that. So we decided on a different approach, a story, a confession, a plea, broadcast into the digital ether, designed to bypass the traditional gatekeepers. An anonymous account, released in fragmented parts, just like the data I'd found. A story meant to be heard in the quiet moments, late at night, when defenses are down and the mind is open to possibility. A seed of doubt, planted in the subconscious. That's why I'm telling you this now. My name is Alex, or what's left of me. I am a whistleblower, stripped of my identity, living in the shadows. But I carry a truth that cannot be silenced. The viral alien abduction video? It was just the beginning. The proof is out there, in fragments, in whispers, in the lingering hum that permeates our technological world. They don't want you to know. They want you to believe the lies, to be lulled into a false sense of security, to sleep soundly while their integration protocol slowly takes hold. But the hum is real. The abduction is real. And the truth, once seen, can never truly be unseen. Listen closely to the world around you, to the glitches in the algorithms, the anomalies in the sky, the unexplained disappearances, because the future of humanity, our autonomy, our very understanding of what it means to be human depends on whether we wake up before it's too late. Sleep well if you can, because I can't.